Hello YouTube, this is Max One Chase One. Today I want to cover the troubleshooting of an electric hot water heater. The hot water heater that I'm using today is my RV hot water heater, and my RV is a 2001 Holiday Rambler Presidential 36 SKT. My hot water heater is an Atwood hot water heater, and it is a dual purpose use hot water heater. That means it can be ran off of electric or either natural propane gas. What I'm going to cover is some of the things you can troubleshoot and check if you're at a campground and you don't have any hot water. And these are some of the areas I'm going to check is for you to check is to do this when you decide to say, well, I don't have any hot water, I'm going to take it to the shop. And then some of the things I'm going to show you are going to be very simple. And when you said that was all it was, I could have did that and saved myself $400, $500, maybe $600. All depends on the hours of labor and what parts or what maybe a hot water heater they told you that you need. So I'm going to show you some troubleshooting tech tips that you can check, and you can do these by yourself and save yourself some money. Alright, stay tuned. Okay YouTube, first thing you want to do, you want to disconnect your shore power. Or if you're at home, unplug it from the home current so you don't have any current running to the RV at all. Also to check your inverter, make sure your inverter's turned off. Go to your circuit breaker box and turn off your circuit breaker for your hot water heater. Look on the fuse box panel and it should say water heater, and just turn it off. You don't want to have any electricity running to the system of the RV, especially to the hot water heater, because now we're dealing with voltage up to 120 volts. Okay YouTube, I've crawled up into my RV bay. I'm gonna pan around. Now that plug right there, that outlet, that is where my hot water heater is plugged into an outlet just for the hot water heater. Pan around a little bit more, and there you can see my hot water heater where it's wrapped in styrofoam, I guess for insulation. And there's the hot water heater and the plugs and the wires that go to the hot water heater. Now let's cover some of the areas of the hot water heater, mainly for the electric side. You can kind of see this wire here. This wire here is the same wire that's coming from that outlet I showed you earlier. The wire comes in, you have a ground, you have a neutral, and you have a hot wire. Now the hot wire goes up, it comes in, and then you have a twist clip. You can use a jumper for it to continue to run in. Goes into the switch, and then the switch has got an on and off. You see the little rocker switch right there. The power goes in, flip it to on, it jumps over, the current comes out of the switch, goes over, and it comes to these little switches here. These switches are one of the things you can check that may be a reason why your hot water heater isn't producing hot water. Again, before we get to this, let's go back to here. After the winter is over with and you de-winterize your RV, did you turn this switch on, or is this switch still in the off mode? That's one thing you can check. Alright. Second thing you can check, again, we come to these switches here. I'm going to show you what these switches look like. This is 120 volts going through this wire like it's house current. Hot current goes in, goes through the switch, comes out the switch, goes through this jumper that goes to the second switch that's right here, and then it comes out of this switch and goes down to your heating element, and then also to your ground wire is on the other side, and then you have your neutral wire here. That's just ground to the hot water heater as well. Alright, so again, you have your ground wire and your hot wire and your neutral wire. Now let's take a look at those switches I was talking about. And these switches, a whole lot of people overlook these switches, and that could be the most simplest thing that will stop you from having hot water in your hot water heater. And this is what these little switches look like. These little switches look just like this. Let me back off it a little bit. You see I had these little tabs on the back, like you saw on the first one, just like here. Current will go into the switch and then come out and go to the next one with a jumper. Now some of the switches have a little reset tab here, and that should be in your first one, because sometimes when it gets overheated, my screwdriver's acting up because it's one of these magnetized screwdrivers. It's got a little reset button you can push, and that could be as simple as that, just to reset it. Alright? Now you have two of them that's here. You have two of them that are here. And like I said, they have the screw plate that it's got a little spring behind it that comes with the kit. And what it does is it keeps this pushed up against the aluminum side of the hot water heater. And what they do is that when these reach the temperature settings of about 140 degrees, they are open, which that means that they are not allowing current to run through, or either they're closed when it gets below the temperature setting and the current comes back on to help sense the heat of the water in the hot water heater. And when they're closed, they let the current flow from here down to your heating element. And this is what your heating element looks like. And this is what your heating element looks like. It's got a, excuse me, deal with me. I'm up on my base, so it's kind of tight. You have a positive and you have a negative. Doesn't make a difference which way you have it. Positive or either negative, or negative and positive, it doesn't make a difference. Now how the components of the hot water heater works and knows which one of these coils, everything works on a positive and a negative junction with each other. So what happens when this hot water heater element goes bad, either you might have done like I did. I'm not going to say what I did, but I'm going to tell you anyway. After this winter was over with, I decided to go ahead and start my generator, and I forgot that I drained the water heater, and I still had I had that switch in the on position, and I turned it on and my generator was running, and I kept hearing it power up. It revved up and it released off. It revved up because those switches were trying to sense the temperature from this heating element in an empty tank. And what it did, it got too hot, and what it did, it blew this switch right here. And then when I realized that oh crap, I don't have the switch turned off on the hot water, came up on it, and sure enough, the switch is on. So I learned a quick lesson. And it didn't burn the hot water heater. Normally when the hot water heaters go bad, they'll burn through the element here. So in other words, the switches saved my heating element from burning up. So just to be on the safe side, while I was up under here, I decided to go ahead and change out the heating element as well. So I got a new heating element and new switches up here that regulate the temperature, to turn it on or either turn it off when it reaches the temperature from the heating element. Alright, again, these are easy tips you can check when you don't have hot water with an electric hot water heater. Alright, okay, sorry YouTube, I forgot to add in this last segment. Now this is a new pack because I decided to buy 2 packs of these switches, and if you can see the number, I got them from Camping World. You can see the number, you can pause it to see the numbers. If you want to go in there and remember them. And then also too, I forgot, once you replace your switches and your heating element, make sure you put your cover back on. Make sure none of the hot wire is not touching anything, and put your screws back on, right? And then you're done. Now I can say, Max one thing out, chase another. Have a good day.